I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to talk about DWIs, DUIs a lot throughout because it's one of the most common things people are arrested for. But not just that, it's common, but it also has serious consequences. All right. I practice in Texas. I'm a lawyer. I'm a public defender in Texas. So I'm going to speak specifically about Texas. But at the same time, this information is relevant to wherever you are for the most part. It's relevant to wherever you are. As always, get with an attorney or talk to an attorney in your local area who does this type of work to get the specifics. But let me say this. With DWI cases, it ain't just the criminal case happening, right? There's also the driver license case happening. So in Texas, when somebody gets arrested for a DWI, in some states it's called a DUI, but in Texas we call it DWI. If you're an adult, right? DWI. If you get arrested, you have to deal with the criminal case, and then you also have to deal with the driver license case, and you have to have an ALR hearing, right? To see if there was cause for you to be stopped and potentially get your license suspended, okay? So you're dealing with two things at one time. Your attorney who you hire for DWI or gets appointed to you should know that, right? If they don't know that, that's a sign you maybe shouldn't be dealing with them, and they're going to give you advice about that. But you don't have the luxury or to wait a couple weeks. So for example, in Texas, you have like 14 days, right, to deal with the ALR issue and let them know you would like to have a hearing on it as a way of keeping your license suspended. Otherwise, it's going to automatically get suspended after a certain period of time, right? So you have like 14 days. What that means is you kind of got to get the ball rolling. That's the paperwork that the cops read to you when you're arrested. There's paperwork they read to you. It talks about that, right? I know it's the case in other states as well because driving is a privilege. So people getting arrested for under the law, privileges can be taken away from us. So people who get DWI arrests, judges, the community, and people who make the laws see them as potential risks or potential dangers to the community. So they look into other things like the driving records and they put them through other hoops. So you got to deal with two things at once, right? So on the criminal side, let's say you end up pleading guilty or you get probation or something. There's a chance your license is also going to get suspended as well. That's part of the consequence of pleading guilty. In certain crimes, there's what's called collateral consequences. Things that occur, happen to you that you can't have, you got to have as a result of a conviction. Also with DWI cases, while you're fighting the case, while you're going to court, more than likely, especially in Texas, the judge is going to put you on some type of alcohol monitoring device, whether it's an in-home device, whether it's an interlock in your vehicle to make sure if you're driving, you're not drinking alcohol, some type of thing. It could be a GPS monitor, a monitor to test if you have alcohol in your system. That's while it's pending. And there's a chance you might have to pay for that, right? And that gets very expensive. So you get arrested for a DWI, it's a lot of things you got to deal with. You got to deal with hiring an attorney or having one appointed to you. You got to deal with being on some type of monitor and paying for that while the case is pending. And if you are convicted, you got to deal with potentially losing your license. There's a lot. Again, whatever state, jurisdiction, county, city, town you're in, talk with an attorney in that area to kind of get more specific information about how they do it. But I'm telling you, these are things that are across the board. It's a lot that happens with DWI, DUI cases.